Wonderful, wonderful to see.
Borderline
That is,
poetic.
that is.
I don't
And the
think
reason it's
I've written a
beautiful.
song better than that. I don't think I could.
I love that. I love that.
We have a power.
My name is Atian. I'm an activist on climate change and knife crime and organising around it even before it sort of started, as well as writing about the movement.
I'm Theo Jansen, also known as T1 Official. I'm an influencer, but I believe being an influencer ain't just about having a following. It's about using your following and your platform to spread messages and raise awareness to issues that need to change.
Hi, my name's KIARA. I'm 20 years old and I'm from London. I had a little chat at the protest on Sunday.
She travelled to London 2 hours to stand with our people because she now understands.
To speak about education, which is something I'm really eager to sort of get people to start doing, is educating one another.
And I'm Steph. I'm 21 and I'm a student.
I'm that tall guy, aka Big Will. I'm a model, basketball player. I've been speaking at the Northampton rally.
I'm Nigo Chur, spoken word artist, author.
My name's Leash. I'm a presenter and an actress. I feel like I'm affected by it. I feel like my brothers and sisters are affected by it, and we certainly need a solid, coherent plan.
Hi guys, my name is Rebecca Winter. I'm a singer-songwriter from West London. I'm an Afrofusion artist.
My name is Yahael. I'm a full-time musician.
My name's H. I'm one of the co-founders of Word on the Curb. I have a vested interest to turn my feelings into actions.
This is one in Bristol, right?
Yeah, Ed Colston, he's down.
No.
He's down.
One thing I found really interesting is when you're actually watching from certain angles, the arms that are pulling the statue down. The majority of them are not black hands. I find this very interesting.
It's beautiful.
Wonderful, wonderful to see.
Borderline poetic.
That is.
I don't think I've written a song better than that. I don't think I could.
I love that. I love that. Bristol been trying to get rid of that statue for a little while now. So you know what? If the system's not going to let us do this, let's get rid of it and let's make a point of it.
It's good. Shouldn't have even still been up. Why is it even there?
Honestly, how can you pay money to put something like that up?
It's important. These symbols of oppression up and down the country need to be, there needs to be some level of revisionism now done with regard to British history. This is just the start of many. You know, this is we're just scratching the surface here with Ed Colston.
As someone said earlier that I read, the statues are coming down, but the statutes are still up. So we need to really have a revision, a re-education of British history. I hope that these coming down will kind of prompt people to research more into it as to why people feel the need for them to come down.
The people who oppose those type of things will say, oh, if we get rid of these statues, then we're getting rid of that history. But actually, do we really need these statues to understand what happened in the past?
I agree. It's just being used as an excuse now. People who are against Black Lives Matter movement look at this and think, okay, so I can't directly say I don't like black people, but I can say I don't like them taking a part of that history, and then I can be overly angry about that.
Yeah, I agree. It's problematic that people care more about the statue of someone remaining there than they do about the destructive legacy of slavery and colonialism.
I hate this narrative that people always try to push on black people, like, oh, you know, slavery was so long ago, like, get over it. Okay, so if we're meant to get over it, why is that slave owner still up then? If we're meant to get over it, why can't you get over it?
I think that statue in itself represents how accepting Britain are of the damage they've caused the world and how much they normalize it for the sake of, well, this guy did good for us.
I saw in Belgium that they brought down the statue of King Leopold II.
Yeah.
And that was amazing because Leopold was worse than Hitler.
Yeah.
Of course, the Holocaust was bad, but there have been events in history that are way worse. And because they're not covered in education or in media, people go about thinking that these are people with only one side, and that's not true.
If you're from Bristol in the times that Colston was alive, economically, he did a lot.
So did Savile.
Yeah, fact. No, but I agree. Do you know the interesting thing is, a lot of British people will say you can't conflate the two. The reason being is slavery has just become a buzzword. They don't even constitute how big the crime is.
Some of these people are victims of the same system, but in a different way. They have had their education completely whitewashed, and they've been indoctrinated, not educated into how the system is. So when they've done that, all that means is that they are not aware of the plight that we have gone through. We have to talk to these people and say, look, yo, go and research about something, go and look into it and understand it. When you can relate it to them in something that they understand, then they start to actually understand what it is that we're going through day to day.
Well, I can't condone criminal damage, and I've been warning, raising concerns over the last few weeks in general, but certainly over the last week and a half or so, about the dangers of mass gatherings in the middle of a COVID pandemic. But at the same time, as I've shared, I'm the descendant of, Jamaicans who at some point were enslaved, and I can't say that statue was anything other than offensive to me. If politics refuses to understand, and I've heard some messages come out about national government, this is just about mindless vandalism. You may not like what happened, and it may be distasteful for you, but you have to understand it. We cannot afford politicians that refuse to understand the populations that they've been tasked with leading.
We need more people like him around.
He said, as a Jamaican myself, that statue has no meaning to me. If anything, and to others, it's an obscenity, especially if you know the history.
100%.
Kind of makes me happy and sad. The fact that it has to come from a black man. Like, why can't someone that is not black say that?
Acknowledge it, exactly.
Look, I think he's struck the correct tone there, where he's calling for some of the people in government who basically have taken a really bad approach to this, and talking to them and trying to start a dialogue around them realizing that the remove of this statue is a sort of flashpoint for much deeper structural problems.
He's pushing on the right lines, but it's almost like he's being capped to what he can say. But I understand in certain positions you have to hold your tongue. So I feel like he could have said more and he could be more passionate about it, but I feel like he's maybe not allowed to.
Yeah, I agree.
He's kind of a bit on the fence of it. He has to say, but we're still vandalising things, but I understand what the movement's for, but we shouldn't really be doing that. It's like, I would love to be a politician at this time, and at the same time, I would hate to be a politician at this time. They're so torn between moral conduct and what is expected of them in their role.
It's so easy for people to try and back this away. It's just, as he said, mindless vandalism.
People are forgetting that people have campaigned and written letters to have that statue removed for a long time. Exactly. People have been saying that they want that statue come down for a long time. They have not been listened to. They have not been heard. So now we've come to a point where they're pulling it down and people are starting to complain. Well, it's like, this is just another example of when we've been asking you to do something and you haven't listened to us.
Yeah.
Moving forward from this, because obviously this is going to die out. Like, we know what our generation is like. We have outrage for about roughly 2 weeks and then things kind of settle. The Black Lives Matter movement, it needs to move more political if we actually want to see true change. Because if you actually look at Parliament, it's very whitewashed. We need to shift this outrage into the politics, and then hopefully it can change.
Well, I'll let you explain whether you know more. Yeah, so we're here because as much as we understand the protests and everything that's going on, defacing a national icon is that one step too far.
Hold on.
These guys really don't know their Winston Churchill history,
They don't know their history.
This guy starved 4 million Bengali people to death.
Thank you.
Because he wanted to divert and stockpile food for the war effort. When Indian people complained about it, he said they should stop their complaining and they should stop breeding like rabbits. The same thing he did to put Kenyan people in concentration camps. There is such a collective amnesia to praise Churchill for winning a war effort, but to completely forget and cast away
the cost at which it came.
Yes, make the signs, make the protest.
He doesn't have a clue. He actually doesn't have a clue.
Because it's just more work for the police, more work for everyone else.
I don't like this guy. Sorry, excuse me. More work for the police, more work. I've been saying to people, none of us want to be out protesting. None of us want to walk 6 hours in the rain. No one wants to be cold all day. No one wants to be screaming through a megaphone. No one wants to be doing that. It's just as much work for us protesting as it is for anyone cleaning up after us.
They're concerned more about the defacing of brick and something that's man-made than human flesh.
Notice that they didn't pull a black person off of the street to ask them what they thought about that.
My sociology teacher put me on about the media and how
sheltered and how filtered it is.
Because Britain have normalized the destruction that they've caused around the world, that this isn't the most important part. This isn't their priority. What they're literally saying is, what he's done for England is more important than what he's done to the rest of the world.
You can't blame someone for living in a cave when they don't know that there's houses outside. However, when you've been presented with stuff and you've refused to take it up because you want to maintain that kind of vision in your mind of glory, then you have results such as this young man talking rubbish that he doesn't really know anything about.
We have to take the same approach that South Africa and Germany do with the atrocities that have happened in both of those countries. If we take the same approach when it comes to our education in our schools, when we have an open and frank discussion about history, we will stop having the issue of racism in this country.
I feel like we need to be taught like the actual roots of it, and then maybe, you know, ignorant people like this guy we're seeing on the screen right now will have less to say.
Nicely said.
Looking forward, I think people need to remember what the movement is there for. The nearly everyone in the movement is simply to just win the rights of black people.
It's taken so long, but it's nice to know we've got to the point where our voices are being heard. And it's nice to know that we have a voice, because I feel like people don't know how powerful it is to protest. I mean, the movement is amazing. It's always been amazing. And I just hope that we finally get the change we deserve.
I wanted to clap for you. That was such a good. That was so good.
We move.
It's happening, and it's a beautiful thing to see. It's sad that there are having to be martyrs for the cause for that to happen. But it's an important time right now that we all need to take advantage of.
I find it outrageous that there would be a group of people who are so detached from the world around them that they think it's okay to not only still maintain their racism, but to shit all over something that is so important. I'm actually getting so mad, sorry. So important, like, to the people. Like, it's not a joke.